Today we're gonna make my great-grandmother's pecan tassies. It is a tender cream cheese crust that is pressed into a mini muffin tin and then baked with a pecan pie filling so that you have like a bite-sized pecan pie that is just absolutely delightful. Let's get into it. Looks like a lot going on. It like maybe a little bit, but not really. It's gonna be easier than you think. So we're gonna go ahead and make our crust first. I'm gonna do this in a food processor. You can do this in a stand mixer, or you can cut it in with a pastry blender, which is that, you know, kind of blender that has like has a handle and it has all the little kind of wires or kind of, you know, metal bits attached to it. That was a really terrible description, but mine broke, so I'm gonna use my trusty food processor. So go ahead and add your AP flour, and I've got cream cheese, yay, and butter. Now, I'm gonna assemble my food processor and I'm gonna pulse it because it's just a situation in there and we don't want weird clumps of butter. We don't want to overwork our dough. So we're just gonna kind of like pulse it and run it. There's no hydration or anything in this dough. It really is just hydrated by butter and cream cheese in the best way possible. All right, there she is. You see how fast that was? Beautiful. Love it. So stoked. Our dough has been made. I'm gonna leave it in here for just a moment because like, I just need a moment. And then we are gonna make our filling. Filling is super easy. I've got a bowl, which I feel like is going to be sufficiently large. Okay, maybe not. Is this even bigger? No. Now, be aware, I'm actually making a double batch because I'm gonna make a batch with chocolate chips in it. I'll drop the link in the description below if you want that recipe. Okay, we're gonna mix all of the ingredients together except the pecans. Without further ado, we've got eggs, vanilla extract, a decent amount, yes, love it. A little pinch of kosher salt, brown sugar, dark brown, and we've got ourselves melted butter. This is melted, it's kind of cooled a little bit. It's not necessary that it's cooled. It's just, you know, mine already did. Okay. And then we're gonna whisk it all together. You know good things are gonna happen with brown sugar and butter and vanilla. Good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try and get all the lumps out. You don't want, the pecan tassies are little, so if you have a bite and then there's a huge chunk of brown sugar in there, that doesn't sound delightful to me. So just make sure that you get like those lumps out. Luscious. Yes, there's no other word for it. Here it is. One more time for you, or me, I don't know. Anyways, our filling is done. Isn't it nice and clean now? I feel much better. And I'm gonna leave my pecans here because I do put those in the tassies before I add my filling, just to make sure everybody gets pecans. Because wouldn't it be sad if you got a pecan tassie with no pecans? I mean, yes. We are going to portion and kind of press in our pecan tassies. So we need to get the dough out of this contraption first. If you did it in a bowl by hand, then it's gonna be a lot easier. Like this is just, it's like a whole thing that's happening right now in here. I'm gonna put it directly on my countertop because we are just gonna, we're gonna portion and roll and smoosh, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Because it has to be. It is a buttery dough. If you're finding it really tricky to work with, then you can go ahead and give it a chill if you'd like, but just know that if you chill this dough, it will puff a lot. And that sounds really great, but it's actually not desirable in the little muffins. We are going to, you can divide this and you can portion it with a scale, or you can just kind of pinch off little balls of dough and plop it in your mini muffin tins, which is what we are gonna do. I would say it's about a tablespoon. You could roll this dough and cut it into discs and then put it in there, and they're gonna look a little bit more uniform and beautiful, if you will, but this is my great-grandmother's recipe, and I do not think that she did that. So I think we're just gonna roll with RoRo, and we're gonna pinch in place. Now, This makes, a 1 times batch of this makes exactly 24. So you should get a nice even number. And if you don't, then go find the fat ones and steal. Now we've portioned all of our little babies into our tins. I am going to go ahead and take them and roll them before I press them in, just because this is, you know, it's a little haphazard even for me, well, especially for me, but even for, you know, where we're going here with rustic, the rustic look. This will also show us which ones are perhaps a little chubby and which ones are a little light. You do not need to prepare your muffin tins if you have nonstick muffin tins. If you are stressed about the, you know, age, maybe nonstick nature of your tins, then sure, go ahead and give them a spray. But there is so much butter in this batter that or dough, that they're gonna come out, I promise. As long as you don't overfill them. That is the only thing. Or poke a hole in the bottom, I suppose, but. Okay, so we've rolled them all into little balls, and we're just gonna use our finger to kind of press them out into the sides. Now you wanna make sure that you don't get the bottom too thin, or any one part too thin, because particularly the bottom, because then they will stick. Because that pecan filling is basically like a pecan pie filling, and it's going to just like, and then just here to the bottom. So no amount of cooking spray is going to help you there. Now I like to just kind of turn my mold here and kind of go around. I find that easier to get a more consistent kind of shape. But you know, you do whatever you want to do that makes it easiest for you. You know, if you do find that your dough is sticking, you know, mine is a little bit sticky, but it's not, you know, it's not sticking, if you will. But you could always tap your finger in flour if you wanted to. Now, because we didn't, you know, perfectly portion them, some are going to be a little smaller than others, and that's okay, because these are rustic, and it might be one of their best qualities, other than the taste, because that's definitely its best quality. Okay, you do want to make sure that you get them high enough up the sides. These are, you know how like mini muffin tins, they don't tell you, but they actually have 2 different sizes. These are the slightly larger size of mini muffin tins. And I find that they work really nicely, but they will work in the small ones as well. You will just get a little less filling into each one. All right, last one. Hopefully the best one, or equally as good. I'll take either. All right, and we're done. They've been prepared, and we are stoked about that. And we are ready to portion our filling. So I'm gonna pour this into a liquid measuring cup, but any sort of, you know, glass or cup, especially with a spout, will be helpful here. Now, at this point, if you hadn't already, you can totally make your filling. It doesn't have to be made in advance. Now, I'm gonna sprinkle my pecans in each of my tassies. I like to make sure that I get an even distribution of pecans, and the only way to do this is to evenly distribute it. Coat the bottom, basically. And just remember, the more pecans you put in, the less filling you get in. It's all a trade-off. These are the hard decisions, but you're up to it, I know it. And now let's go ahead and pour our filling. So you're just gonna fill it no higher than the top, okay? Just trust me when I say that you do not wanna deal with a filling spilling over situation. That is not a space that you wanna live in. I've been there, it's not fun. Make sure you put less in the ones that have less high walls. They're gonna puff a little bit, you know, but they're not gonna, you know, grow a ton in volume. So you just, you know, no. The crust is gonna puff a little bit, but the weight of the filling should actually kind of hold it down a bit. So and I've got like a bit of a drippage situation that's adding to the dilemma that's occurring here. Now, like pecan pie, the pecans are gonna kind of float to the surface, so that's why I'm not really stressed about having them in the bottom. Okay, we've done it. Be super stoked because this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pop this in my preheated oven, 350 degrees, regular. You can do convection as well. whatever you've got, whatever you've done is great. I'm gonna pop some of these bubbles that have decided to like, where are they coming from? They each have one giant bubble, and it's really odd. Okay. All right, now for real. I'm putting them in the oven. They are gonna bake, 15, 20 minutes. That's a lie. They're gonna bake like 20, 25 minutes. And, but we're gonna watch them. We're gonna like peek in at like 10, make sure nothing terrible is happening. Not that we can do anything about it at this point. The tassies are out. They baked about 20 minutes, and I am going to let them cool completely in these pans before I remove them. If you try to take them out too soon, then they're a little too soft and tender and they can break on you. So I like to let them completely cool, and then we will twist them out. It is time. They have cooled and we're ready to get them out of their molds. And so all we're gonna do is give them a little, I'll let you see how they twist like that, and you kind of push them down and pull them out. So, most of them are going to be kind to you. Sometimes they will not be kind, but that's okay because we have an offset and we're prepared. So you just kind of give them a lift and a pull. You can try and not twist them first, but sometimes it's best to give them a little twist first so that they kind of release. Although this guy looks like he has a little filling. Uh-oh. Oh, I think we have a situation. Some shenanigans happened. Yeah, I think the bottom got a little too thin, and then it leaked out. So that's why you want to make sure that the bottom is not, you can't see the bottom of the tin through the bottom of the dough. It's just, these things happen. This one is stuck on the side because I overfilled it. You can see how beautifully they come out of their little molds. You do want to make sure that you see the tops browning, like the edges of the dough browning before you pull them from the oven, or you might have, the bottoms might be a little blonde, if you will, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's preference. And that's it. Sadly, I'll eat it. Please don't. Let's not pretend like I'm not going to. He will not go to waste. And the good thing about letting cookies cool before you remove them is that it is immediately time to try. Yes. So let's find the cutest of the bunch and taste it. This one right here looks pretty good. See, it's like nice and golden brown around the bottom and the outside. And like the filling is puffed and the pecans are peeking through. Oh man, this is gonna be good. All right. There's that soft, crumbly crust that is like super tender because it's like 50% butter and cream cheese. And it's like just kind of melts in your mouth. And then there's that really sweet pecan filling in the inside. It's just like the best pecan pie you've ever had. But it's like itty bitty and bite-sized.